A Pocono race that was actually exciting. The Melon Man does it again. Finally, a new winner in the Xfinity Series, and just announced major shakeups at Hendrick Motorsports. All today on the Fifth Turn. All right, everybody. My name is CJ Ward, and welcome into the Fifth Turn. Great to have you here. Man, exciting weekend of racing. A lot to talk about between the Truck Series and Cup Series at Pocono and the Xfinity Series at Iowa. Man, both these tracks, it feels like we were just here a couple of weeks ago because we were. The distance between the Pocono races and the Iowa races, they're only a handful of weeks apart. So we were just here a couple of weeks ago, and I think for the most part, both tracks significantly improved from where they were about a couple of weeks ago. So yeah, exciting stuff. Lots to talk about this weekend. Pardon the background noise if you hear it. It is raining outside because it is Florida in the summer. Okay, let's start off with the Truck Series at Pocono. Man, Ross Chastain, man, the Melon Man, winner at the July Daytona Xfinity race. Man, he just keeps doing it. He just keeps doing it. He qualified second for this thing, which was really surprising because they really haven't qualified very well all year. So they typically qualify, in the 10th, 15th, 20th range. But they qualified second, and was leading by turn one in that 45 truck. So great day for him. Austin Hill was on the pole. Again, wasn't leading very long. It was already a short race. I mean, the whole race was already only 60 laps. And the question became, can we even get through a single lap of this thing? Because there was a wreck turn one of lap one of this race with Stuart Friesen going around, and man, that sucks for him. You keep wondering when the win is finally going to come. He's going to have a shot next week at Eldora, or later this week, I guess, at Eldora, because he's the king of dirt racing in NASCAR at least. Man, it's just so much bad luck for him this year. He's had great runs and hasn't been able to capitalize. Stuart Friesen going around and crashing, collecting Anthony Alfredo. But it was just, can we even make it a single doggone lap? And with all of the cautions and wasted laps under yellow, it was what, like a 5 or 6 lap stage one, which Ross Chastain ran away with, because again, he got by Austin Hill in turn one, and led pretty much every single lap of this race, except like 3 of them during pit stops at the end of stage 2. But yeah, so we had a lot of wrecks in stage 1. Stuart Friesen, Anthony Alfredo, Bailey Curry in the second Nice truck had a really good run going, and Austin Wayne Self made a bad move on the restart, and they made contact, and the 44 went around. Tyler Dipple was a guy who was running top 10 all race long, and Young's Motorsports isn't really a team that you would consider to be a front runner. Much like a Nice, they've made a lot of improvements this year with those 3 trucks. Tyler Dipple in the 02, Spencer Boyd in the 20, Gustine in the 12. All of those trucks are having really good runs from time to time. So great run for Tyler Dipple, but Ross Chastain in this race was just simply unbeatable. That 45 truck was so fast. It got me worried at the end of the race because it was the same level of domination, just even more so as Iowa. When he dominated that race and then got DQ'd, but Tech was all clear at the end of this thing. Ross Chastain just absolutely ran away with this thing. Absolutely unbeatable. It was really, really cool to see. So out of his 5, technically 6 NASCAR wins, most of them have been complete domination. I mean, you look at Vegas in Xfinity last year, domination. You look at Kansas earlier this year was right place, right time. Gateway, or Iowa, excuse me, was domination. Gateway was right place, right time. Daytona was domination, and Pocono was domination. He's just incredible. I mean, all year I've been trying to figure out, because Nice Motorsports was such a mid-pack field filler team last year, I've been trying to figure out if they're just putting all of their efforts into that 45 truck, or if Ross Chastain is just that good of a driver. And I think Ross Chastain is just that good of a driver, because my goodness, just absolutely dominates. You saw the guys on the playoff bubble, Stuart Friesen, Sheldon Creed, a lot of those guys really having issues. Lot of trouble for them. Austin Hill, after starting from the pole, he had issues. Thankfully he's already won a race. All race long, it looked almost like the Cup race at Pocono a few weeks ago, where it was just almost impossible to pass. There were a few passes shaping up. The ThorSport guys were giving each other some trouble, but there was some pit strategy going on towards the end of Stage 2. Ross Chastain came in early, gave the stage win to Harrison Burton in the 18. But yeah, clean Stage 2, clean Stage 3. Domination by Ross Chastain. Started to look like maybe a fuel mileage race, but everybody saved enough, and Ross very wisely backed off once he had gotten to like a 4 or 5 second lead on Tyler Ankrum in the 17, who was running second. Ross backed off, started saving fuel, kind of let the 17 get back to him, but managed to save plenty, and his third, technically fourth, truck win of the year for the Melon Man, Ross Chastain. Second points paying win. Just, he's gonna win this championship. I think this win and the utter domination that it was vaults him to the favorite status for the Truck Series championship this year. You can't argue with that. You really can't. He is most definitely the favorite. I mean, you look at the 7 playoff races, and 5 or 6 of them are ones that Ross Chastain can definitely win. I mean, you look at the Truck Series playoff schedule, opens at Bristol, which is the Nice Motorsports short track program has been phenomenal this year. And I mean, again, you look at the way that they dominated Iowa. So short track program has been awesome. He can definitely win Bristol. Next race is Canada, which is a road course. Sort of 50-50. I'm not real sure how Ross is going to run there, but next race is Las Vegas, which again, he won the Xfinity race last year driving for Chip Ganassi. He's going to have a great run there. Talladega, Ross is phenomenal on the plate tracks, as we saw at Daytona in the Xfinity Series. Then it's Martinsville, which he almost won earlier this year, because he and Ben Rhodes were the 2 best series regulars all race long, who were only second to Kyle Busch. Then it's Phoenix, which again Ross is going to have a great shot at, and then it's Miami. So I mean, really the only race in the Truck Series playoffs that I really don't know about Ross's chances is the road course in Canada. Other than that, he's going to have a great shot at this thing. So unbelievable domination for Ross Chastain. Great run for him. Impressive run for Tyler Ankrum, coming off a win last race at Kentucky. Another really solid day for him, coming home second. So yeah, it was definitely cool. It was definitely cool. All 3 races this year had a lap 11 salute to Nick Harrison, and Ross actually, Pocono had a rock monument outside the track that said 11 Nick Harrison on it. Ross actually put his checkered flag on it after the race, which was really cool. But yeah, great Truck Series race. A lot of action that first stage, and then just utter domination by the Melon Man, Ross Chastain. Threw a cool inflatable watermelon in the stands to the crowd, which was fun after the race. Which, by the way, not a sponsor, but you can get one of those for about $14 at your local Academy Sports and Outdoors. Shameless plug there. So yes, great truck race all around. Ross Chastain does it again. Let me run through the finishing order. Ross Chastain takes the win. Tyler Ankrum second. Harrison Burton third. Christian Eckes fourth. Brett Moffitt fifth. Sixth, Matt Crafton. Seventh, Todd Gilliland. Eighth, Johnny Sauter. Ninth, Ben Rhodes. 10th, Grant Enfinger. All four ThorSport trucks inside the top 10. Great run for them. Tyler Dipple 11th. Anthony Marakovich in the 8th for Nemco. Really solid run for him in 12th. Jordan Anderson 13th. 14th, Gus Dean. 15th, Austin Wayne Self. 16th, Natalie Decker. 17th, Mason Massey. 18th, Spencer Boyd. 19th, Ray Ciccarelli. 20th, Josh Rayom. 21st, Jennifer Jo Cobb. 22nd, Norm Benning. 23rd, Bailey Curry. 24th, Brian DeZoe. 25th, Sheldon Creed. 26th, TJ Bell in the third Nice truck. 27th, Bryant Barnhill. 28th, Joe Nemechek. 29th, Daniel Sassnet. 30th, Austin Hill. 31st, Anthony Alfredo. And 32nd is Stuart Friesen after a lap 1 crash. Great race in the truck series all around. The one thing that I will say, the broadcast coverage was not great on Fox. Too many commercials. Granted, it was a really short race, and there wasn't a whole lot of action late in the race to talk about, but there were many points during the race where it was like, okay, we've been showing the race for about 30 seconds, and now we're going to have our 5th commercial break in the last 5 minutes. So it was not great coverage, but a great race all around. And again, another trophy, another checkered flag, another win for Ross Chastain. Moving on to the Xfinity Series. That was a great race. I've known Iowa was great racing, but it was good. It was good. Series debut for two guys, two former, I want to say K&N guys, Ryan Vargas, who drove the 15 for JD Motorsports, and Will Rogers, who drove the 68 for Brandonbilt, which is Brandon Brown's team. Christopher Bell on the pole. Looked like it was going to be another Big 3 dominated day, and it did turn out that way for a while. Chase Briscoe had a great qualifying run, qualified second, was running second basically all day, but looked like it was going to be Ross Chastain-style domination by Christopher Bell, and it was that way for most of the race. More issues continue for Austin Cindric. More issues return for Brandon Jones. And again, it really looked like it was going to be a runaway victory for Christopher Bell. You had a lot of really good mid-pack battles. Not really anybody up front that was making a run at it, but mid-pack, you had a lot of really good action. Again, the Big 3 starting to dominate. Ryan Sieg running top 10. He was running third, I think, for a while. Really, really impressive. Cole Custer, he was the first one of the Big 3 to choke. He had a pit road penalty and then crashed very shortly after. Actually, really hard hit for him. So now you're thinking, okay, can Tyler Reddick get up there? Because he was running right up front for quite a while. John Hunter Nemechek in the 23, finally a good run. They've had such bad luck the past couple of weeks. That 23 car was looking real sporty. And then we had a caution. And under the caution, Dylan Bassett, driving the 90 for DGM Racing, slammed into the back of the sweeper truck. It was like Juan Pablo Montoya all over again, and it wasn't really anybody's fault. The sweeper truck was right on the entrance to pit road. Sort of reminded me of Richmond 2017 when Matt Kenseth got his radiator knocked out because everybody checked up to avoid the safety truck that was just sitting there on pit road. Dylan Bassett just couldn't see through all the smoke and dust and fog that was being spit up by the sweeper truck, slammed into the back of it. It was a really hard hit. Glad everybody was okay. On that restart, Christopher Bell is leading. He's dominated the race. Behind him, you've got Chase Briscoe in the 98 for Stuart Haas. You got John Hunter Nemechek in the 23 for GMS, and you got Ryan Sieg in his own 39, and you're wondering if anybody's got anything for Christopher Bell. And then the answer very quickly turned out to be no, because Chase Briscoe and John Hunter Nemechek were so busy monkeying around trying to pass each other that Bell just took off. Briscoe finally got around and then, surprisingly, ran the 20 down and made an incredible pass for the lead and won this race. Chase Briscoe, in the 98 for Stewart-Haas Racing, wins this race at Iowa with an unbelievable pass for the lead. Pretty much the only guy all day to just go up and pass Christopher Bell. It was an incredible pass. And some great action to talk about at the end of that race. It was pretty epic. He had been working on him, tried to get him loose, tried to run him just far enough up the track that he could get a run, managed to get side by side with him at the line, and then clear him into one. So it was incredible. It was absolutely incredible. Chase Briscoe takes home the victory, beats Christopher Bell, starts to take the next step to solidify maybe Chase Briscoe is that fourth guy. If you're taking the big three at Homestead, maybe he could be number 4 because he's been running really, really well all year, and now finally has a win. Won the Roval last year while he was still part-time, and now that takes his first win of the season in his official rookie Xfinity season, and wins it at Iowa. Let me run through the finishing order. Chase Briscoe takes the win. Christopher Bell, second. John Hunter Nemechek, phenomenal day in third. Noah Gragson, fourth, with a really beat-up race car because he got some damage earlier on. Austin Cindric, with his issues, collected Noah Gragson, and the right front fender was basically non-existent on that 9 car, and still somehow managed to finish 4th. So great run for him. Tyler Reddick 5th, 6th Justin Allgaier, 7th Shane Lee in the 28. Great run for H2 Motorsports. Justin Haley, great run for Colleague in 8th. 9th Zane Smith, 10th Michael Annett. So all 4 junior motorsports cars in the top 10. Ray Black Jr., phenomenal day in 11th. Ryan Sieg 12th. Riley Herbst 13th. 14th Greg Galding. 15th Josh Williams. 16th Stephen Light. 17th Ryan Vargas in his series debut for JD Motorsports, P17. Great run for him. Matt Mills, 18th. Joey Gase, 19th. 20th, Vinnie Miller. 21st, Stephen Parsons. 22nd, Garrett Smithley. 23rd, Stan Mullis. 24th, Camden Murphy. 25th, Ryan Repko. 26th, Dylan Bassett. 27th, Brandon Brown. 28th, Will Rogers. 29th, Cole Custer. 30th, Jeremy Clements. 31st, David Starr. 32nd, Chad Fincham. 33rd, Brandon Jones. Bad luck continues. 34th, Mike Harmon. 35th, Timmy Hill. 36th, Morgan Shepherd. 37th, Austin Cindric. And 38th is J.J. Yaley. So great race all around in the Xfinity Series at Iowa. And now we move on to the final race of the weekend, yesterday's race at Pocono in the Cup Series. That was quite a race. You guys remember how awful the last race at Pocono was, and how much of a rant I went on this show about how awful that race was. And they put the PJ1 down the traction compound. You were wondering how much that was going to come into play. And it really did, because this was actually a really good race. Like, not just okay in comparison. It was a really good race, which shocked the living daylights out of me. Kevin Harvick, continuing his momentum from his win last week at New Hampshire, starts on the pole. But he had a lot of guys having inspection issues before the race. Austin Dillon, William Byron, Jimmie Johnson. A lot of guys having to go to the back because they failed pre-race inspection. Once again, you had a lap 11 salute to Nick Harrison. The story all day was the Gibbs cars. Kevin Harvick had a lot of speed, but those 4 Gibbs cars, Kyle Busch, Eric Jones, Denny Hamlin, Martin Truex Jr., those were the cars to beat for sure. And they were battling each other pretty hard all day long. Early in the race, you had Brad Keselowski hitting the wall, but had a pretty nice rebound. Had a top 10 finish, so obviously didn't damage that car too much. But those cars that I mentioned that had failed inspection that were starting from the back, especially Kyle Larson, really nice job coming from the back because Larson especially, but Johnson and Byron as well, everybody who was starting back there, really did a good job of coming back through the field. They were up back in the top 20, 15 or so pretty quickly. Yeah, it was really a pit strategy race. Again, when to pit, how to stretch the fuel. It was still, much like it was a couple of weeks ago when we were here last. Track position means everything, and if you're the leader, nobody's going to pass you. But it was still a lot of really solid racing all throughout the field. The first real incident was unfortunately Chase Elliott getting into the wall. Really hard hit. Really sucks for him. He's had a stretch of a lot of really bad races. I think his last top 10 was the last time we were here at Pocono, so it's been a while for Chase Elliott since he's had any kind of success. We had a really odd caution for rain for about 3.5 minutes, so that was odd. But really, at the end of stage 2, it was going to be insane. Kyle Busch was trying to do an impossible pit strategy and stretch his fuel. A fuel window was between 30-32 laps, as I recall, and he was trying to stretch it about 48, and we knew there was no way. There was no way he was going to make it. And with him having to pit, and we also had a caution at the same time, Jimmie Johnson, who I will talk about in a few minutes with some news just a brief while ago, Jimmie Johnson wins stage 2. And those were some much needed points. He actually gained about a net gain of about 5 points on the playoff cut line. So those were good points gained for Jimmie Johnson. Again, strategy was all over the place in stage 3. Richard Childress Racing, both cars, Austin Dillon in the 3, Daniel Hemrick in the 8. Both of those guys were having really good runs. We thought it was going to be shaping up to be an insane nail biter on fuel because it was like a lot of guys, the Gibbs cars, Kevin Harvick had a bunch of chances to pit under caution, didn't do it. Everybody was trying to stretch it on fuel. Kyle Busch was on a different strategy, and with a late caution that came out, you thought it was going to play right into his hands, but shockingly nobody pitted, and so he was still back in the field. Again, you thought it was already going to shape up to be a fuel mileage race, and then we had cautions. It was like, man, this changes everything. Josh Bilicki in the 53, who broke a drive shaft, stopped on the track. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. continuing to be a jerk, just intentionally wrecking Kurt Busch after he kind of slid them both up into the wall, and taking out Michael McDowell in the process. There was a lot of cautions in those last couple of laps, and I don't know how. I didn't think there was any way in the world, but somehow Denny Hamlin saved enough fuel and won the race. I didn't think I was listening to the radio broadcast because I was working, but the way that they were talking about it was almost a letdown finish because for all the hype about a fuel mileage race being a nail biter, the Gibbs guys, they were saying were about 2 laps short, and they had given up saving fuel a long time ago, and there was no way. Nobody ran out of fuel. William Byron, who ended up finishing 4th, great day for him, ran out right coming to the line. So it was almost a letdown because for all the hype, nobody ran out, and everybody managed to save enough. So I mean, it was great strategy wise because it definitely was a nail biter, but yeah, really exciting race, infinitely better than we were last month. The PJ1 definitely came into play the traction compound. That's not single-handedly what made this race better, but it was a really good race. Again, I don't know how everybody saved enough fuel, but they did, and it made for some excitement for sure. Let me run through the finishing order. Denny Hamlin takes the win. Eric Jones, second. Martin Truex Jr., third. William Byron, fourth. Kyle Larson, fifth. Kevin Harvick, sixth. Daniel Hemrick, great day, in seventh. Brad Keselowski, eighth. Kyle Busch, ninth. Ryan Blaney, 10th. Clint Boyer, 11th. 12th is Eric Almirola. 13th, Joey Logano. 14th, Ryan Newman. 15th, Jimmie Johnson after winning Stage 2. 16th, Chris Buescher. 17th, Matt DiBenedetto after starting 10th. So he started to fade a little bit, but still had a decent day. Paul Menard, 18th. Austin Dillon, 19th. 20th is Alex Bowman. 21st, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 22nd, Bubba Wallace. 23rd, Matt Tifft. 24th, Daniel Suarez. 25th, Michael McDowell. 26th, Corey LaJoie. 27th, Kurt Busch. Landon Castle, 28th. Ty Dillon, 29th. Ross Chastain, 30th. Quinn Houff, 31st. Reed Sorensen, 32nd. 33rd, BJ McLeod. 34th, Austin Terrio. 35th, Josh Bilicki. 36th, David Reagan. 37th, Ryan Preece. And last, in 38th, was Chase Elliott after wrecking early. So yeah, it was an exciting race. It was an action-packed race. 3 really good races this weekend. 3 unexpected winners, possibly. Obviously, Ross Chastain in the Truck Series, is officially the winningest truck driver this year, which is crazy with how late he changed points. Yeah, so great run for everybody. Denny Hamlin comes home with the win in the Cup Series, Chase Briscoe in the Xfinity Series, Ross Chastain in the Truck Series. Now, before I close out this episode, about 20 minutes before I started filming this episode, we had some breaking news from the Cup Series garage. And that is that Mr. H is clearly not a happy camper with how things have been shaping up this season. About 20 minutes before I started filming this episode, news broke that Jimmie Johnson is getting another new crew chief. That's right. Kevin Meendering will no longer be the crew chief of the number 48 Ally Chevrolet for Jimmie Johnson. He will be moving to a senior competition role at Hendrick Motorsports. And the new crew chief for Jimmie Johnson will be a guy by the name of Cliff Daniels. Now, Cliff Daniels has been, for the last couple of years, the race engineer on the 48. He was with the team when they won the championship in 2016. He then moved to a competition role at Hendrick, came back to the team at Sonoma a couple of weeks ago, but he has been named the new crew chief of the number 48, starting effective immediately. So coming into the next race weekend, which we are going to Watkins Glen this weekend, Jimmie Johnson's going to have another new crew chief. So Mr. H obviously trying anything that he can to get that 48 car back up to snuff with where we think he should be. It's no secret Jimmie Johnson has really struggled the last couple of years. Kevin Meendering didn't really help anything. And another change on top of the 48 box. Hopefully it makes a difference, because I think we all want to see Jimmie Johnson do well. It's been a while. I think the last time that he was really, he put himself in position. I mean, he's had some good runs this year. Chicagoland immediately comes to mind, Daytona. But last year at the Roval was the last time that he really was a threat to win a race. So it's been a while. But I think Cliff Daniels is going to do a good job. He's brand new. He's never been a crew chief. Kevin Meendering at least had been an Xfinity crew chief for a while. Cliff Daniels, brand new to the crew chief role, but I think he's going to do a good job for Jimmie Johnson. So that's all I've got for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, as usual, keep an eye next week for my Watkins Glen and Eldora recap video. Yeah, we've got Eldora in the Truck Series this weekend. So that's always going to be fun. The Dirt Derby, the only dirt track in NASCAR. Really wish the other series would go there, because it's a blast every time. So looking forward to that. Keep an eye out for those videos. But as always, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you guys' support. Yeah, that's going to do it for me. Take care, and I will see y'all next week for another episode of The Fifth Turn. See y'all later.